6:03 on Tuesday, February 18th. We are at 23 degrees, partly cloudy, breezy and cold. Highs only around 40. Good morning. I'm Michelle Basch.
And I'm John Aaron. The top local story we're following. New information now on the hazardous conditions first responders had to deal with nearly 3 weeks ago outside Reagan National Airport at the site of that devastating plane crash that killed 67 people. WTOP's Nick Iannelli is following the latest.
After the plane went down, there was so much jet fuel in the Potomac that first responders who were working on recovery efforts were basically swimming in a pool of gasoline.
Everybody was just coated with jet fuel.
Dave Hoagland, president of the D.C. Firefighters Union.
We had members get some rashes, temporary loss of taste and smell. We're talking about the cumulative effects of the trauma of the horrible scene that they encountered, but also the physical effects of that. This is something they're going to be dealing with their whole lives.
On top of everything else, the recovery efforts took place in extreme conditions with freezing temperatures and thick chunks of ice in the river.
They were navigating all of those conditions and trying to move everything that they recovered from the crash site back to shore.
Nick Iannelli, WTOP News.
President Trump reportedly wants to clear out the homeless camps in D.C., and WTOP's Alan Etter spoke to a civil rights attorney who believes it can be done effectively and humanely.
Over the years, there's been nothing to stem the growth of these encampments.
Joseph Camerata says it's going to require a lot of resources, law enforcement, mental health professionals, and others to relocate scores of people currently on the streets into facilities that can help them.
That's a start. Can the district work with the federal government? The mayor has said that she would. And so I don't see why they couldn't and why they shouldn't.
Exactly what that would cost, what resources would be required, and how or if the federal government would assist are all questions as yet unanswered. Alan Etter, WTOP News.
The so-called Department of Government Efficiency says it aims to cut fraudulent and wasteful spending. But as WTOP's Valerie Bonk reports, one local economist questions whether or not it's actually stopping fraud.
Putting an end or really reducing dramatically fraud and improper payments. That can only be a good thing.
Veronique Desrogiers, the George Gibbs Chair in Political Economy and a senior research fellow at George Mason University, says problems arise when cutting these payments are done in the wrong way. She says DOGE would need to identify where fraud is happening before they can cut it effectively.
The government doesn't actually do a ton to prevent fraud and improper payments. In fact, improper payment has been growing quite dramatically over the years.
She said to properly figure out how to get rid of fraud, DOGE needs to figure out whether it's fraud or mismanagement, and she believes that the answer to that may ultimately lie within the courts. Valerie Bonk, WTOP News.
A new and major endorsement in the race for Prince George's County Executive. Maryland Governor Wes Moore is backing County State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy. Moore, in a video statement on X, says Braveboy can help in its effort to make Maryland and Prince George's County safer, more affordable, and more competitive.
I'm endorsing Aisha because of her public and private sector experience, her track record of delivering results, and her forward-facing vision as the next county executive.
Braveboy is among 11 candidates in the race to replace former county executive Angela Alsobrooks, who is now a U.S. Senator. Just a few days ago, Council Chair Jolene Ivey dropped out of the race. The special primary election is set for March 4th.
An 18-year-old driver is dead after a two-car crash in Dumfries. Prince William County Police say the driver who was killed was speeding on Dumfries Road late Sunday when his car crossed the median into oncoming traffic. That car hit an SUV heading in the opposite direction. The driver of the car who died at the scene is identified as Mihai Mario Stoica of Woodbridge. A passenger in the car, along with the driver and passenger in the SUV, were treated at hospitals for various injuries.
Coming up on WTOP in Money News, how a major newspaper is reportedly ready to use AI. Traffic and weather in 30 seconds.